We are a product of falling through the cracks. The best way to get out of anywhere is to go into it first. So we've been in there, we can back out. And that's what we use the creative process for, because we know it works for us, it can work for others. This book hopefully is the celebration of that, and for the activists to take recognition of how far they've come, what they're now capable of, compared to what was there before when we first started many years ago, as this core team that we have at ATD Dublin.
This project is about creative ways of including people, creative ways of including people's voices, creative modes of expression through things like art, poetry, which we've heard some of today, rapping.
This piece of work that we're doing now is to be seen, I believe, as a celebration of capabilities and the tenacities of our activists. When we first took up this journey, which was many years ago, we used the creative process to help bring the person out of themselves, because we had a lot of that with that self-doubt, and there's a lot of kind of insecurity. And we built a space around us within the ATD office that we all operate in here in Dublin, and kind of everything goes. So there's a lot of fun, a lot of banter, but there's the creative process, the encouragement of your voice, and whatever that voice is, whether it's through your art, because then we can ask you to explain the expression, the abstracts, anything at all to do with the art, the same with the writing, even people speaking on their experience.
Recognising the wisdom, the value, the grit, the courage, the creativity of a community that sometimes feels it's been squeezed by gentrification and by an inverted commas development. So that's the project, yeah.
And this creative process that we like to work and use is taking it out of the head and making space for something good to come in. But the whole idea of the creative process is just for people to get comfortable, to go deeper, to come out of themselves. And that's what's happened with a lot of the people we've worked with over the years, and I've worked with over the years.
Where you have things written down, it gets out and you're not batting it all up.
I would have been 18 when I was in addiction of drugs and alcohol. Was very heavy on them, and when I went to rehab in cystic fibrosis, again you allowed changing opportunity, which the opportunity was to get clean and sober. One of them said, I remember one of the nuns in the treatment centre told me and said to me, if you want a way of expressing yourself, take a pen and piece of paper. With that pen and piece of paper, it helped a lot out what was on the inside of drugs and alcohol to come out of drugs and alcohol.
How long are you sober now?
About 4 years.
4 years.
And 5 years clean.
Well done.
But it's better than lashing out and hitting the wall.
I'm Veronica Salazar. I have been a volunteer with ATD Ireland for the last 5 years. The importance of art. Oh boy, it lets you be yourself, even though you are pretending to be somebody else. I mean, whether you're on stage or when you're, in my case, that I bake and decorate cakes, I'm making something else, but I am being myself. I am showing who I am through my work.
I'm from an organisation called Mission Cara. I'm a human rights and advocacy officer, but one of the things that we have found a lot is that one of the great things for mobilising people, for galvanising people, and really also just for their own self-empowerment and self-satisfaction and happiness is to be involved in creative works. And the poems that you're going to hear are from a project that is run by an organisation called 3 to 6, which is supported by the Maris brothers in Johannesburg in South Africa. What they started was running a second school from 3 to 6 in the afternoon for refugee and migrant children. And one of the things they do a lot of is creative work, camps, poetry, writing, drama, and a lot of that actually supports their advocacy, but it also supports the children in processing and dealing with trauma and with having their childhood back and valuing and enjoying their own right to play.
When I heard you were filming on Sandymount Strand and Trinity College, I associate Sandymun Strand with that James Joyce story of his epiphany, where his eyes were opened. And a book like this, I think for lots of people might open their eyes both to the struggles and the bravery of people, but also to their hope and to what sustains them.
I think it shows the different ways that people can express themselves and contribute to general dialogue and conversations about social justice issues or things that are important to them. It doesn't always have to be in very formal ways. It can be through creative expression or through arts or different ways that people like to express themselves. In fact, like, people in poverty are some of the most creatively talented people I've met.
Mickey and Minnie Mouse lived in the powerhouse. Donald and Daisy Duck are so crazy. Goofy and Pete are lazy. Chip and Dale went up a tree. Pluto backed and peed. They all began to sing a song. Now they're all in Disneyland, moving on. So now we know that the powers can put on a show. And then only on Tuesday I wrote a new poem. It's about my life as an ATD activist. My name is Christina. I'm an ATD activist. ATD are an organisation that fights against poverty. I got myself out of poverty to be free. I lived to see the tale. I got the help not too far from ATD. We do a lot of projects in ATD, but my favourite is poverty awareness. I enjoy ATD with all my heart. I don't know where to start. There are so many things I like to do, but ATD is always there for you.
The poor die in war, the rich gain more. Profits rise, humanity decries. There's more than enough as the rich their pockets they stuff. Children never fed, innocent now dead. How do you sleep as bodies pile deep? I take comfort in my riches, mother and child lay in ditches.
So I'm going to start with a poem from Lily. She's from Zimbabwe. And I'm also from Zimbabwe, and it made me realize how many people are affected by the situation of xenophobia. And this is a 13-year-old girl who wrote this poem, and it's called Keeping My Hope. Sanibonani, I, a foreign child, suffer in a violent crowd. Parents struggle to make the ends meet, starving at the back of their car seat. Different looks for looking different, surrounded with lots of irrelevant, but moved to be told a lie. Xenophobia is the unreasoned fear. And would it make a better atmosphere? Brothers and sisters of Africa, build one another. Africa has hope. This is from Lily, 13-year-old from Zimbabwe. Thank you so much.
The landscape we should be taking great care of, but we haven't been taking care of, are bogs. Bog, life-giving, preserving, bog bodies, sequestering greenhouse gases, stretching to the horizon's edge. Do not pass here or a stake will be driven through the heartlands of many colours, where nature rules softly in rushy pools of frog spawn and sphagnum, forever storing our exhalations. I'm a member of Zero Waste Alliance. I'm one of the founder members. It was started in 1999. Why do we throw away so much stuff? Why do we consume so much stuff? Why is there so much packaging that we can't use? All these are important questions that really demand answers.
This poem kind of originated during my break and the interactions that happened on Black Friday. Black Friday tree, a broken window here, hangers on the ground there. Do you have this in a different size? No, or we have this out already. Yesterday I put up my Black Friday tree. It whispered, may the discounts be ever in your favor. Do you need a bag? How badly do you need it? I want you to get down on your knees and beg me for this bag. Same jacket in a different color, same people with different hair. Want dressed in a jacket of need. If I could go, step out of my role, go off script, stop performing sales assistant, I'd ask, do you really need this? Then I'd ask them to kiss me on the lips. Championing paper bags like severed heads, a war trophy. It's contributing to the economy. It's keeping the cycle on track. As I scan the same socks and the same most unimaginative jacket known to corporate designers, I think that even baby Hitler would shoot short-term desire. Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to think about a purchase for more than a moment, and I won't have to put up with this piss factory anymore.
I'm Martin Byrne, and I'm a retired teacher, a Christian brother, and an active member of the October 17 committee. And the poem I've written, it's about a story that happened on the 24th of June last year to mark the United Nations Day for Refugees, that a group of activists with support from ATD cycled the famine trail from Roscommon back along the Royal Canal to the famine statues. It's a trail that marks a particular journey that was made in Black 47, when literally thousands of people were forced off the land and were walked towards the North Wall, took ships from there over to Liverpool, and then were moved on to the New World, in this particular case to Canada. According to United Nations figures, there's at least 87 million recognised refugees in our world today, so it's not a historic event really. So I call the poem Cycle Against Poverty. Detenant the lands of the costly, starving, dying poor, because not even hell or Connacht can sustain them now. These poor people are the blight. Laissez-faire ideology and economics show the poor are expendable, and when they become a nuisance, get them to Liverpool and put them on boats and just send them far away. Banks, of course, are generally too big to fail, while stocks and shares and vulture funds will ever trump and triumph over the crying basic needs of the desperate. A small group of cyclists in the footsteps of the starving pedalled hard to push back and to alert all about this cruel normal, acting in solidarity with and on behalf of today's famished.
Bacon barriers, we are doing a carry, we must hold our ground, we are always gonna be around, we are strong together, never say never. Bacon barriers, we need to face poverty, we social harmony. If you think you'll knock me down, ATD will always be around. Bacon barriers, never gonna hold us down. We're gonna keep the fight and we're gonna turn it around, knowing that hip hop is just being bound. Dublin, Brussels, London to Ibiza, with international poverty. How do we live it up? Knowing it's tough, it's always been up, it must be tough. International poverty, Dublin to Brussels, everybody wanna be, it's poverty that's facing the world around, knowing that everybody should have a home and not sleeping on the ground. If anyone should be blamed, it should be the government, because they don't have enough money to afford the rent. International poverty hits the humanity. People on the street, homeless, could be dead. All the mess in the head. It's international poverty. Cost of living on the face of fact. Looking at the hardly that people can hardly eat. They put their children first before they put the clothes on their back. Knowing this government is slack. People knock us down. Look what I found. Tell me if you know that poverty's around. Everybody knows that we've got to keep reality. Keep a faith, knowing that to change poverty is never late. It's international poverty.
My name is Terence. I was born in Ireland, but I was raised in Liverpool. This is about the power of the pen. O mighty pen, O land of saints and scholars, your fame it was renowned. We all knew we stood on sacred ground. But from the plantation to the present day, stupidity still persists. For greed and cunning scheming to control the mightiest instrument of them all. O mighty pen, now lying in the hands of fools, who with one stroke have broken all the golden rules. Your mighty law, now in the past, how long will the madness last, when educated idiots with such conviction persist that the planet can still exist, while the American Indian and the Aborigine too, by the grace of God already knew, to take and not give back can only lead to destruction. O mighty pen, we can only pray that you make your way to those who care and will share.
My name's Gavin Uzel. I'm a social activist with ATD. For the last 8 to 9 years, I grew up in Darndale, that's a district in Killock. Throughout my experiences growing up there, it was quite tough. It was classed as the most impoverished community in Dublin and in fact Ireland, and it still is, I think, to this day. Why I took so warmly to ATD was because when I first introduced to them, well, they made me feel so welcome, and the ethos within ATD, that's what really sucked the hook in for me, because everybody's class is equal, everyone's the same, nobody's overlooked for any reason. Everybody has a voice, you know, we come together as one, we tackle social problems that's going on, and I've been very vocal about my community, from my experience, and to bring it to light, you know, and ATD's been a great platform for that. Growing up, I used to always think, is it me? Am I the bad person? Because there's something wrong with me. But I always knew there wasn't. I always knew I had a good heart. I mean, Nanny always told me I had a great heart. It was the area that I had to, well, forced to, sorry, I'll rephrase that. Myself, my mother and my brother, we were forced into an area that is statistically known as the most impoverished with the highest crime rate. Now, who in that right frame of mind from the council is going to be sitting on a desk and that's going to have to sign off on that paperwork, and it's going to have to put 2 spotless, blameless children into an environment like that and expect them to grow up and act and behave like the rest of society?
I'm from the north inner city, and it's classed as a disadvantaged area, and not a lot of people with a disability can get into 3rd level education and get a full-time job after. When I was in school, they didn't think I was able to go to full-time education in a 3rd level institution because I have a disability. They told me after the leaving cert to do a level 5 in the National Adult Learning Network, and I went and done a course there. I wasn't happy with it. I wanted to go to a 3rd level institution, but I didn't know how to, and I went back to my youth service, Bradog Youth Service, and one of the staff members there helped me get into 3rd level education. Now I'm currently in Maynooth doing a level 8 in community youth work in the Bachelor of Social Science.
I think the Sustainable Development Goals are kind of some of the most important targets to meet before 2030, and a lot of times the language around the Sustainable Development Goals is around our environment and nature. Of course, it's kind of an all-encompassing thing, so I think this ties it together because it's showing people's ways to contribute to dialogue, ways to leave no one behind, and on this beautiful landscape.
When I first started ATD, I would have been the shy person in the corner. You wouldn't have got me to stand in front of a camera, but ATD helped me find my voice.
So we published a book, If Only You Knew, and my story that's in it is called The Strawberry Beds. My work duty within the rehabilitation centre was on the polytunnel, and that's where I got the revelation from sitting down, and I was looking at the strawberries that was grown on the inside, how red and how juicy and how they just flourish. And then I looked outside, and then I seen the strawberries outside, and I'm looking at them, and they're just left alone, wild, unattended. And then I was like, you know what, it's like, that's my community left right outside of everything, infrastructure, resources. I didn't ask to be born. No one asked us to be born. But I know one thing, when I was born, I was forced into an area by a stroke of a pen of someone behind the desk in the council. I refuse to have them labels of shame and stigma be put on me because I haven't inherited the stigma of an area that I was born into, that I didn't ask to be in the first place. The tongue is a powerful tool. It has the power to build a person up, but also has the power to take a person down. There's a lot of discrimination when it comes out of people's mouth. They don't understand the power of the actual tongue, what it can do to an individual. You can cut an individual just by words, or else you can come along, you can lift an individual's spirit up just by words. And you don't know the ripple effect that that's going to have on him. Because it happened to me, I need people come alongside me and give me some courage and spark an idea off in my head, plant the seed in my head. That manifests, that's the power of words. You can move mountains with your words.
Like, I felt isolated in the junior cert because I had no support, nothing around. And then once I knew I wanted to go to a third level, I went to my youth service and they helped me get the support in place for the leaving cert. They went to my school, had meetings, and they got me a reader for the leaving cert. But I didn't get the points from leaving cert, so I had to do level 5 and I went to the Liberties College. And they helped me connect with ATD Ireland, and ATD Ireland gave me more confidence in actually going out and speaking at these events, and it's actually encouraging me with the work I'm doing now in college to get more people, young people with disabilities, to come forward and speak about it, not be like isolated or afraid. Other people, like I see them, were struggling, like they didn't know what they want to do when they leave school and all. I sat down with them, tell them to speak to, if they're in youth service, speak to youth workers or speak to career guidance people. And they obviously spoke to me. I told them the school thought I'd never get into level 8 because I have a disability. I think I was struggling and all. But with the support of Brother Youth Service, I've been able to fulfill what I want to do when I leave college. It's actually opened me up to what I want other young people to do, like follow my footsteps, if that makes sense. As with ATD Ireland, it's opened my eyes a lot. When I first joined, I was finding my feet what ATD Ireland was. And since going to full-time education in Maynooth University, I've understood now what ATD is for what ATD does for the community, and it just opened my eyes on what I'd like to do next year when I'm in second year on the community work placement. I would recommend any young person to get their youth workers to link in with ATD Ireland if there's funding in place for them to do stuff with ATD Ireland for more local projects they're doing. If someone puts you down, you know you're better than them and you'll get to where you want to get in life, basically.
I was privileged to read these poems because I was invited to write a sentence or two about them. What struck me was that we all need meaning in our lives, and particularly if you're struggling. And what this book does is, not alone is it an individual searching for meaning, but it's groups. Whether it was the group that come together to support each other writing on Tuesdays, they're writing poems trying to make meaning. And of course I was thinking of people like Viktor Frankl, who lost his family but saw that making meaning of itself is so human and so helpful. So I'm delighted, and this particular book adds to that corpus of real stories. So that's what struck me when I read them, and I'm sort of thrilled that the book has come to fruition and that those stories are there telling us of what gives support, what wisdom, what courage, what grit is there in communities that struggle.
A lot of us activists have come through a lot. You won't find them in any books that you have in here. And I think it's interesting being in here because I never thought I'd be in the centres like this, institutions like this, and speaking my piece.
And where there has been historically so many barriers to people that come from diverse backgrounds coming to places like Trinity, that's changing thankfully, and now more and more people that would have been previously excluded are finding their ways to places like Trinity. And so maybe we can move on from talking about power and exclusion to talking about partnership and inclusion. The potential for partnership is huge, and the outcomes that can arise from working in partnership with civil society groups such as ATD Ireland, with community activists, with volunteers, and with academics such as myself, based here in Trinity. There's huge potential in what we can produce together. It's really important to broaden what we mean by inclusion, because we can do inclusion, but there's a question, do we do it well enough? So when we include people or attempt to include people's voices, are we doing it in a way that's actually conducive to including people who may not be comfortable answering direct questions, or who may not be comfortable taking part in surveys or focus groups and things like that? So what way can we actually include people that it's creative? And I think arts-based creative approaches are really key for fostering modes of inclusion that go beyond traditional ways of inclusion. So for me, that's really what's at the heart of this project, is the fact that we're broadening what we mean by inclusion. We're asking people with lived experiences of poverty and social exclusion to come to express themselves using poetry, spoken word, testimony, art. And I think that's so important, because there are lots of ways to include people's voices beyond just asking them what they think.
For too long we've had our capabilities, our talents, our skills undermined and gone without recognition. Whereas this book, I hope, is going to be the testimony to that fact, who we are and where we've come from because of our experience. That experience should be valued, especially when it goes into the social sector of society and trying to make positive changes.